Hey Benny! Today we're going to create a cloud function and we're going to have a connection to a real-time database with Firebase. So the first thing we want to do is install the Firebase tool. So npm install. We want this to be installed globally, so -g and firebase-tools. I already installed this, so I don't have to hit enter, but you should. After that, we're going to type firebase login. Once again, I'm already logged in, but if you're not logged in, you just hit enter and follow the instructions. They're super simple. After that, we're going to create a project. So firebase, init, and then the project name, we're just going to call it functions this time. Functions, hit enter. And now it will generate the project and give us a tour. So here it says we can select a Firebase project. I don't want to use any of my old projects, so I hit create new project. I want to use JavaScript, enter, and yes, I want to use ESLint, and yes, I want to install all the dependencies right now. And then it will generate the project structure and install all the dependencies. So now when that's done, we're going to go to the browser and to the Firebase console. And here we're going to create a new project. So press the add project, project name, we call this video. And I'm in Sweden. Like that, I accept terms. And then I hit create project and wait until it's done. When the project is done loading, we press continue and wait for the project to load. So now we're certain that the project is here. We go back to our terminal and we type firebase use add. And now we can see our newly created project is here, and we select it and hit enter. Alias for this project we can use what is suggested stage. So now once that's done, we're using our Firebase project. We can go to our code editor. I'm using Visual Studio Code, and in here I have the folder called functions that we created, and in there I have a file called index.js, and in here this is where we'll write our cloud functions. It's given us a simple code example here of a cloud function. We're not going to use that, so we'll remove that, and we'll also remove the semicolon because I don't like those. So what do we want our cloud function to do? Well, I'm thinking of we want a simple cloud function that will take a query parameter, let's call it text, of a text message then. We will then use some secret transformation of that text message and then push it to our real-time Firebase database. So the first thing we want to do is export a cloud function. So export, and then the name of the function, so add message we can call it, equals, here comes the cloud function, so functions.http on request, and then a regular function that will take request and response. So actually now we have created a simple cloud function. It's not really more than this, but we want our cloud function to do something, right? So, and the first thing we want to do is maybe collect a query parameter and store it in a local variable. So we'll call it text. Const text equals request query text. Then we maybe want to create our secret function that will transform our message in a secret way. Let's just make it to uppercase. Make a simple function out of it. So const to uppercase. case. So, and then we want to connect to our Firebase database. That means we need to require the Firebase admin tools. It's already installed when you created the cloud function, like when you created the project. So let's just require it. Admin require a Firebase admin. Like that. And then we want to initialize the app, so admin.initialize app. So here we want to connect to the database app, the Firebase database, so admin.database. We want to put all our messages under a reference called messages, so we can simply collect all the messages. So ref / messages. Then we want to push our message. So text is now secret text. And then this returns promise. We will take the response. We want to respond, as I said, we want to respond to our HTTP request to our cloud function with some data, like a success message. So we just type response. .json, we want to return JSON, so message, maybe great. And the original text value, so text. The secret message we will only have for the server. Maybe we want to have some error handling on this too, so catch. Message. So that's basically it. Now we created our cloud function. And this is all we want the cloud function to do. It takes a query parameter text, it secretly transforms it in some way, it pushes it to a Firebase database under the reference messages, we push the text object, and then we respond with some JSON. Either way, if it crashes or not. Right, so now we want to deploy our function. So we'll go back to the console and just type clear here. You can see it clearly. To deploy this, we type firebase deploy only functions. So now we will only deploy functions. Project. We can hit enter, but if you want to try this locally, you don't want to deploy it and then check and you get an error message. You just want to deploy this locally. Instead of the deploy keyword, you type serve. And this will start up a local server. The connection to the Firebase real-time database will still work, but all the functions will be deployed locally. You get better error messages and stuff like that. But we want to deploy it to the cloud, so we type deploy. After that, you hit enter and wait for the deploy. So now the project is deployed, and we get this. We can see here it's called function URL and the function add message that we call it. And this is then the URL to our project. But before we do anything with this URL, we'll go back to the Firebase console into our app. We hit the database button here. We want to enable the real-time database so we can see that our cloud function is actually working. So get started on real-time database. Want to select test mode, so read and write are true, so we don't have to set up any access keys or anything like that. So enable. And now we can see the real-time database is enabled and it has nothing stored in it. So now we'll go back to terminal, we'll copy paste our URL, open up a new tab there, and we call the query parameter text, right? What should we send? My message. And we hit enter. And as you see, we get back some JSON, and the message was great, and the message we sent was my message. Then we go to the Firebase console and check. We have it has now created a new reference called messages, and in there it has an ID and the text my message. And if we do it again, hello, hit enter, you can see it created another message with the text hello, our secret transform text. So that's basically it. We created a Firebase cloud function called add message. It takes a query parameter text, it secretly transforms it, it then pushes it to a real-time Firebase database, then responds with some JSON, and it's deployed. If you like this video and want to see more similar videos, hit like and subscribe.